Okay, so back to the story of the wazir and the 12 amirs and what goes on there. So the people became mad from longing for him and on account of being separated from his spiritual feelings and discourse and intuition. So this is verse 551 of Masnavi. So when the wazir went away, the people, they started longing for him and they want to listen to his bayans and his lectures and his wise words. Yeah? So they went and they complained to him. They were making supplication and lament while he, in solitude, was bent double by austerities. So he was busy with exercising solitude and busy with his meditations and all those things in the cave. They said, without thee, we have no light. How? What is the state of a blind man without a leader? Imagine a blind man without anyone to lead him. What is his state? Same like that is our state without you, O honorable one, O teacher, O master, referring to the wazir. Now you will notice here, as Maulana Rumi is describing the conversation between the people and the wazir, the people and the spiritual guide, the leader, their spiritual leader, he will go into a conversation between him and between God, right? Between him and Allah. Maulana Rum will go into an ecstasy and a state of fana, and he will shift from this conversation to another conversation. So just pay attention to when that shift happens. You will notice it as it happens. You should pay attention. Okay, so I'm trying to zoom in here. All right. So they said, without thee, we have no light. How is the state of a blind man without a leader? By way of showing favor to us for God's sake, do not keep us parted from thee any longer. Please come back to us. We are as children and thou art our nurse. Do thou spread over us that shadow of thy protection. So come back to us and nurse us. We are your children. Spread your shadow of protection over us. He said to them, my soul is not far from them that love me. So my soul is not far from them that love me, but there is no permission to come forth. I can't come to you back. I have no permission. Those amirs came for intercession. So the 12 amirs, they came and interceded on behalf of the people, and the disciples came in reproach, saying, O noble sir, what a misfortune this is for us. Without thee, we are left orphaned, deprived of our hearts and our religion. Thou art making a pretense while we grieve, while we in grief are heaping cold, fruitless sighs from the burning heat of our hearts. So you are busy making a pretense here, staying in the cave, whilst we are crying out our hearts burning of heat for you. We have become accustomed to thy sweet discourse. We have drunk of the milk of thy wisdom. Now, the conversation is shifting, but very slightly. Rumi is shifting the conversation very slightly, but he's still in the conversation of the people and the wazir. Okay? So, let's continue. Allah, Allah, do not thou, O wazir, treat us with such cruelty. Show kindness today, do not pull off till tomorrow. So come back to us, show kindness to us today. Don't be so cruel to us. We really need you, Do not pull off till tomorrow. Does your heart give you permission, consent, that these who have lost their hearts to you should at last, being without thee, without you, become numbered amongst them that have nothing left? So Does your heart give you permission that those who have lost their hearts, so we don't have our hearts, right? Does your heart give you permission that we who have no heart, we become amongst those that have nothing left? So please come back to us and give us your heart. How can your heart allow you to leave those who have no heart? Now watch. They are all writhing like fishes on dry land. So the people are saying, we are like fish on dry land, right? We are suffering and withering and shaking and dying, or like fish on dry land. You let loose the water, remove the dam from the stream, open the stream of water and let it flow. O thou whom there is none in the world, O thou like whom there is none in the world, for God's sake, come to the aid of thy people. Now, conversation slightly shifting. He said, beware, O ye enslaved by words and talk, ye who seek admonition and discourse conveyed by the tongue and through the ear. So the wazir says to them, replies, that you people, you are slaves of talk and admonitions and bayans, of the tongue, right? And through the ear, you just concentrating on the physical things. Why don't you listen to your own spirit? Put cotton wool in the ear of the low physical sense. That put cotton wool on your ear. Take off the bandage of that sense from your eyes. Take off the bandage of that sense from your eyes. Which sense? The spiritual sense. Take the bandage off your eyes of that sense and look with the spiritual eye. The ear of the head is the cotton wool of the ear of the conscience. See, the ear of the head, your physical ear, that sense is cotton wool of the ear of the conscience. So your ear, the physical one, is a cotton wool, is blocking you from hearing the conscience until the former becomes deaf, until the ear, the physical ear, until you stop listening from that sense, until you become dumb, until the former becomes deaf, that inward ear is deaf. So until this ear becomes deaf, the inward ear remains deaf, meaning until you can hear with your physical ear and you are relying only on that, your inner ear is deaf. So when this ear becomes deaf, then only that other ear will open. Become without sense and without ear and without thought. Now Rumi is speaking to you. Become without sense. Lose all your senses. Lose your ear. Lose your thoughts. That you may hear the call of God to the soul. Return. So the word here, Ta khitab irji'i ra bishnuwed. Irji'i. So this is a verse of the Quran where Allah is calling out to the soul. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي. See, one word, and you have to figure out what is he talking about. So this is the verse he's referring to. That listen, become without sense and without ear and without thought. Lose all your thoughts and give up your physical senses so that you may hear the call of Allah saying to you, Irji'i ila rabbik. Return back to your Lord. SubhanAllah, how beautiful. So long as you are engaged in the conversation of wakefulness, how will you catch any scent of the conversation of sleep? So if you are busy with the conversation of being awake, the physical conversation, the physical senses, you are still awake here, right? How will you catch the smell of the conversation of sleep? The conversation of sleep is the conversation of the soul. Our speech and actions is the exterior journey. The interior journey is above the sky. The physical sense saw only dryness because it was born of dryness. So the physical sense only saw the earth because it was born of the earth. The Jesus of the spirit of Jesus, or you can say the Jesus of the spirit here refers to your soul, right? The soul set foot on the sea of spirituality, the divine sea. So the physical senses, they only see dryness, they only see the earth. The inner sense, the spirit, it sets foot on the ocean of divineness. The journey of the dry body befell on dry land. See, the body, its journey ends here, but the journey of the spirit set foot took place in the heart of the sea, the divine sea. Since thy life has passed in traveling on land, now mountain, now river, now desert, you are busy spending your life on land, mountains, and rivers and desert. When will you gain the water of life? Where will you cleave the waves of the sea? So when are you going to gain the water of life, spiritual life? And when will you cleave the waves of the ocean, this divine ocean? The waves of earth are our imagination and understanding and thought. See, your imagination, your understanding, and your thought, all these things are the waves of the earth. The waves of water are mystical self-effacement. The waves of water are mystical. So, meaning give up yourself and intoxicate into the ecstasy of the divine. And death means give up your body and your mind and your physical senses, go in the state of fana, go into the spiritual realm. That is the waves of the mystical world. While you are in the sensual intoxication, you are far from that mystical intoxication. So if you are busy in the sensual intoxication, if you are too busy with your physical senses, your seeing, your hearing, your eyes, your smell, your taste, and your touch, you're just relying on these senses, you are far from that mystical intoxication. So if you are intoxicated with your physical senses, you are far from that mystical intoxication. While you are drunk with this, if you are drunken with this, the physical senses, you are blind to that cup, the divine cup. Beautiful. Rumi says, outward speech and talk is as dust. So your speech, your outward speech and talk is like dust. Do you have, for a time, make a habit of silence? Why don't you stop talking and make a habit of silence and listen to the silence? Take heed. Rumi is saying, take heed. Understand what I'm trying to tell you. Give up talking and adopt the habit of silence and go into the divine trance. Now, coming back to the conversation between the people and the spiritual leader that was here, they all said, O sage who seekest a crevice, means of evasion, say not to us this word of guile and harshness, that don't treat us and don't be separated from us and don't chase us away, Please come back to us. Don't be harsh and hard with us. Lay on the beast, a burden in proportion to its endurance. Lay on the weak a task in proportion to their strength. So, on the animal, on the beast here refers to the animal. So lay on the animal a load that it can bear, right? Lay on the weak a task which they can bear according to their strength. We are weak, so treat us according to our strength. Beautiful line here. Tanay har murg andaze wies, to may har murg injiri kies, The bait of every bird is according to the bird's measure capacity. See, the bait of every bird, for every bird, is according to its capacity. So we catch every bird and we lay bait for it according to its capacity, according to its measure, according to how much it can bite. How should a fig be the food of every bird? So although fig is a very powerful fruit, but it is not the food of every bird. Not every bird can digest fig. So give us what we need and require. Don't deprive us, Treat us as much as we can bear, right? For every bird does not eat the fig. Rumi gives you another example here. If you give a child, a small baby, bread instead of milk, so a baby is newborn baby, if you give him bread instead of milk, take it for granted that that poor babe will die of the bread. So here now, Rumi is talking about that treat people according to their level. So not everyone will be able to understand Rumi's words, right? So here Rumi is addressing the person who is trying to convey his words to the other people, that give them, if they are children, give them milk. Don't give them bread. They will die because they can't digest bread. The babe is still a baby, right? So if you give a babe bread instead of milk, then that poor babe will die of the bread. Yes, there is a time when you can give the babe bread. Yet afterwards, when it grows teeth, that babe will, of its own accord, its heart will crave bread. See, when the babe will grow teeth and become bigger, right? When the child grows, out of his own will, he will now crave bread. So then you don't have to give him bread, he will want bread, right? Subhanallah, beautiful. So how to make tarbiyah of the person, how to make how to nurture a person in the spiritual path. So we start off with simple things, simple concepts, with milk. And then as you grow and you become stronger and you grow your teeth, then we can feed you with bread. When an unfledged bird begins to fly, you see the bird that has not yet developed its wings. When it begins to fly, it becomes a mouthful for any rapacious cat. So that bird who has not yet developed its wing, when it tries to fly, it becomes a prey for the cat, right? But when that same bird has developed its wings, but when it grows wings, it will fly itself without trouble and without whistling, without any prompting, good or bad. So when the bird has developed its wings, now you don't have to tell it anything. It will fly on its own. It does not require any prompt. Thy speech makes the devil silent. Thy words make our ears full of intelligence. So coming back to the wazir, the people said to him, your speech makes the devil silent. Your words make our ears full of intelligence. Our ears are full of intelligence when you are speaking. Our dry land is a river when you are the ocean. With you, the earth is better to us than heaven. O thou by whom the world from Arcturus to the fish is illumined. Now here you can see that Rumi has gone into a trance. Right? The words, the style has suddenly changed. He's gone into an ecstasy. I'll explain now. So in this line, he's saying, with you, earth is better to us than heaven. Look, he's saying that if the divine is with you, then even if you are on earth, that is better than heaven, right? Because the divine is yours. You are with the divine. It doesn't matter now where you are. O thou by whom the world from Arcturus is a bright star in the sky, one of the brightest stars in the sky. And from Arcturus to the fish in the ocean, all of these are illumined by thy light, by the beloved. So he's gone in a trance, and now the trance continues. Without thee, without you, darkness is heaven for us, right? But compared with thee, O moon, who is this heaven at all? So, without thee, darkness is over heaven for us. But compared with thee, O moon, O the beloved, what is this heaven at all? This heaven is nothing without thee. The heavens have the form of sublimity. So the heavens have the form of sublimity, of grandeur and height and rifat. Here the word is used here is rifat. So the heavens have the form of sublimity, of mightiness and power and highness and elevation. But the essence of elevation belongs to the pure spirit. See, the heavens are nothing in front of the pure spirit. The true elevation and sublimity belongs to the pure spirit. The form of sublimity is for bodies. Besides the essence, besides reality, bodies are mere names. See, the real elevation, the real credit and might and power of the body is because of the soul. Besides the essence, if you take the soul out, the bodies are just names. They are just names. He said, cut short your arguments. Let my advice make its way into your souls and hearts. So for a moment, Rumi comes back to that story of the vizier and the refusal of the vizier to interrupt his seclusion. So he said to the people, cut short your arguments. Let my advice make its way into your souls and hearts. If I am trustworthy, the trustworthy is not doubted. Even though I should call heaven earth, don't doubt it. If I am endowed with perfection, why this disbelief in my perfection? If I am endowed with perfection, why this disbelief in my perfection? So if you think I am endowed with perfection, I am a spiritual person, then why are you doubting my perfection? If I am not perfect, why this molestation and annoyance? So if I am not perfect, then why are you coming and disturbing me and annoying me? Go away from me. I will not go forth from this seclusion. I can't come back to you, O people, because I am occupied with an inward experiences. How the disciples raised objections against the vizier secluding himself. So you will notice here, the conversation is taking place between the vizier and the people. But Rumi will again go in another trance. They all said, O vizier, it is not disbelief. Our words are not as the words of strangers. The tears of our eyes are running because of our separation from thee. Sigh after sigh is going up from the midst of our souls. Again, Rumi is gone in a trance. A babe does not contend with its nurse. See, a child, does not contend with its nurse, but it weeps, although it knows neither evil nor good. See, the baby doesn't know anything, but still it wants the attention of the nurse, so it cries. So we are like that baby. We are crying. We don't know good or bad. We just need your attention. We are as the harp, and thou art striking it with the plectrum, playing on it. So we are the harp, the instrument, the musical instrument. We are like the harp, and you are the stick that is striking the plectrum, the stick that plays the harp. The lamentation is not from us, right? It is thou that art making lamentation. See, we are not the ones crying. You are the one making us cry. Where is Rumi gone? Subhanallah. Just follow. I can't explain much more than this. We are as flute, and the music in us is from thee. So we are the flute, the music in us is from you. We are the mountains, the echo in us is from you. Too deep, too deep. We are as pieces of chess engaged in victory and defeat. Our victory and defeat is from you, O you whose qualities are comely. Comely means are beautiful and complete. So you can see Rumi is in trance. Let's continue. I'm going to go to the next page here. So, conversation continues. Who are we, O thou soul of our souls? Look, extreme trance here. Who are we, O thou, O you, soul of our souls, that we should remain in being besides thee? So in front of you, how can we remain? How can we have any existence, right? You are the soul of our souls. You are the soul of our souls. That is too deep. That is extremely deep. We and our existence are really non-existence. Watch carefully. We and our existence are really non-existence. You are the absolute being which manifests the perishable, yani causes phenomena to appear. You are the absolute being who manifests everything. We are lions. We all are lions. But which lions? But lions on a banner. You know the lion on a flag? We are those lions, right? Because of the wind, they are rushing onward from moment to moment. So the wind waves the flag, and it looks like the lion is running and moving. But it's actually not the lion moving. The wind is moving the flag. Because of the wind, they are rushing onward from moment to moment. Their onward rush is visible, and the wind unseen. Watch. Their onward rush, you see that line, it's visible, it looks like it's rushing and it's moving. The thing that is moving that lion, the wind, is unseen. So what Rumi is talking about here is the body and the soul inside. So the body is like that lion on the flag, moving and running. But actually, the lion and the flag is not moving. It's the wind that is unseen, the ruh that is inside you, that is making the flag move. May that which is unseen never fail. Now he gets to the point. Our wind, that whereby we are moved, and our being are of thy gift, is the gift of God. Our whole existence is from thy bringing us into existence, from you bringing us into being, right? Remember, this is supposed to be the conversation between the people and the vizier, but here Rumi is in a trance and gone into a conversation between him and the divine. You showed the delightfulness of being unto not being. So you, because of out of your grace, you showed delightfulness and gave us being whilst we were not. We were not being, we never existed. And after you has caused not being to fall in love with thee. Now that this not being, we were not existent. So that not being, you have made it fall in love with you. Right? This line is a bit deep. It's a bit deep. I'll try again. Thou didst show the delightfulness of being unto not being, meaning you showed your gratefulness and your love and your delightfulness of being unto not being. So you made us existence while we were not existent. After you have caused us not being to fall in love with thee, after you have made us fall in love with you. So when we were not existent, we were already in love with you. And now after the non-existence, you gave existence to us. But we were already in love with you before we even existed. Do you get what he's talking about? If you get it, you get it. Okay. Take not away the delightfulness of your bounty. Don't take the delightfulness of your bounty away. Take not away your desert, your wine, and the wine cup. Beauty. Let me try again. Take not away the delightfulness of your bounty. Take not away your desert, your wine, and your wine cup. Too deep. Okay. If you take it away, who will make inquiry of thee? If you is in trance and talking to the divine, if you take it away, who can make inquiry of you? How should the picture strive with the painter? Can the picture have any argument with the one painting? Right? Naksh ba nakash jun neru kunat. How can the picture argue with the painter? So you are the painter, we are the picture. You are the designer, we are the design. How can the design argue with the designer? Speaking to the divine, Rumi says, do not look on us, do not fix thy gaze on us. Don't look on us, don't put your gaze on us. Look at thine own kindness and generosity. Look at your own generosity and kindness and bless us with that. Don't look at us. We are nothing. Look at your own kindness and generosity. You are the most generous and the most kind. We were not, we never existed, and there was no demand on our part. And we never asked to be existing, right? Isn't it? We were not, and there were no demand, there was no demand on our part. Yet your grace was hearkening to our unspoken prayer and calling us into existence. Ooh, beautiful. So we were not, and there was no demand on our part. Yet your grace was listening to our unspoken prayer and calling us into existence. So we never even existed, but your grace was so gracious, it was listening to our unspoken prayer and calling us into existence. Beautiful. Before the painter and the brush, the picture is helpless and bound like a child in the womb. See, in front of the painter and the brush, the picture is helpless. The picture can't do anything. It is like a child in the womb. The child in the womb, the child can't do nothing. The mother is the one doing everything. Before omnipotence, and before the Almighty, all the people of the divine court of audience, the world, are helpless as the embroidered fabric before the needle. So in front of the Almighty, the Omnipotent, all the people of the audience of the world are helpless. Like fabric is helpless in front of the needle of the designer. Now, he makes the picture their own of the devil, now of Adam. So the divine makes the picture, designs the pictures. He made the picture of the jinn, the devil, and then of Adam, the human. Then he makes the picture thereon of joy and one of grief. He is the one who draws the picture of joy and the picture of sadness. So he is the designer doing everything. Now, watch the conversation because he's going to shock you in a while, right? I'm going to keep that surprise. I don't want to reveal it right now. Just watch the conversation, how it's going, and watch what happens from what will happen in the end. Okay, let's see. There is no power to anyone that he should move a hand in defense. So no one has power to move any hand in defense. No right of speech that he should utter a word concerning injury or benefits. So no one can do anything, no one can utter anything. Then he says, Rumi, recite from the Quran the tafsir of, the interpretation of the text which interprets the tafsir. So he's going to refer to an ayah here, the preceding verse where Allah says, you did not throw when you threw. See, the ayat is here. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ. Right? They in the battle of Uhud, or this was the night when he was making hijrah from Mecca to Medina. Either of the two occasions, he took a handful of dust, the Prophet, and threw it on the kuffar, and they became blinded for a while. So now Allah is saying, وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى, that verse of the Quran. Now Rumi is saying there, read that verse and understand what's going on. The action was done by the Prophet. The Prophet did the action, but the Quran says, it is not you who threw when you threw, but Allah threw. Right? Now watch. After mentioning this point, the audience starts thinking that we have no choice and all our actions are forced, right? Like all our actions are done by the divine and we have no choice. Now Rumi senses that, and watch what he will do now. If we let fly an arrow, right? That action is not from us. We are only the bow. The shooter of the arrow is God. Okay. Now he says to you, this is not Jabr. This is not Jabr. So, to give you context of these verses here, there were two groups who existed in the time of Rumi. One group called itself Jabariyah, and the other group, they are called Qadariyah, right? So Jabariyah are those people who believe and they say that we have no choice and no will, and everything is from God and everything is already done and decided from God, and we can't do nothing, right? So all our actions, we do not have a choice regarding anything. Then you get on the opposite side, the Qadariyah. They say that there's no such thing as taqdeer, as compulsion. We are the makers of everything. We created ourselves, we choose everything, we decide everything. So on one hand, you have the group called Jabariyah. They say, no, we do nothing, we have no choice, we are helpless, right? Then on the other hand, you get the group who say we have all the choice and we decide everything and we do everything. Now Rumi clarifies both he clarifies to you both the positions. So when he said above that if we let an arrow, that action is not from us. We are only the bow, and the shooter of the arrow is God. Now, this is not jabr, this is not compulsion. It is the meaning of jabbari. Innah jabr. In ma'na jabbariyast. This is not jabr, saying that everything is the action of God. That is not compulsion. That is the meaning of Jabbari, almightiness. The mention of almightiness is for the sake of inspiring us with humility. Right? Now he's going to explain further. Our humility is evidence of necessity, but our sense of guilt is evidence of free will. So, our humility, that is the evidence of necessity, right? But our sense of guilt, you know, the feeling of guilt, that is evidence of free will. Now he's going to explain what he means. If they were not free will, what is this shame? So if there was no such thing as free will, right? If you didn't have a choice regarding anything, then why do you feel shame when you do some things? What is this shame? And what is the sorrow and guilty confusion and abashment? Then why do you feel ashamed? Why do you feel sorrow? Why do you feel guilt? Why do you feel confusion? And why do you feel abashment? Right? Why do you feel all of these things? If you think you have no choice, there's no such thing as free will, then why do you feel these feelings when you do certain actions? Why is there chiding between pupils and masters? Why is there arguments or like questions and answers and like debates between pupils and masters, right? If there's no such thing as choice, then why is there conversations happening between students and teachers? Why is the mind changing so as to depart from plans already formed? So you make a plan and the mind changes and you do something else. So had there been no free will, why is the mind changing? Departing from plans already formed? On the other hand, if you say that he, the asserter of free will, takes no heed of the divine compulsion, and that God's moon, God's majesty hides its face from him in the cloud of his own blindness, there is a good answer to this. If you listen, you will relinquish unbelief and incline towards true religion, true belief. Now he explains, remorse and humility occur at the time of illness. See, when you get sick, now you feel remorse and you become humble. The time of illness is holy wakefulness. That time when you are ill and you are sick and you are about to die and you can't move and you can't do anything, that is the time of full awakeness, of conscience. That is when you are fully awake to your conscience. At the time when you are becoming ill, you pray God to forgive your trespass. So at that time, when you are ill, you are praying to Allah to forgive your trespass. So if there was no such thing as free will, why are you repenting? Why are you asking for forgiveness for your trespasses? The foulness of your sin is shown to you. You resolve to come back to the right way. So now you want to come back to the right way. So there is such thing as free will. It means you did some actions from your choice, right? You make promises and vows that henceforth, that if Allah cures you, Your chosen course of actions will be nothing but obedience to God. So, when you are sick and you're dying and you can't move and you can't do anything, then you make vows and promises that if you, Ya Allah, if you cure me, if you give me strength and my life back and, my health back, I will do nothing but obedience to you. See, that is choice. Therefore, it becomes certain that illness gives you conscience and wakefulness. Note, then, this principle. So take note of this principle and put it in your mind. O thou that seekest principle, the one who wants to know all the principles, take this principle and put it in your mind. Everyone who suffers pain has caught the scent thereof. Anyone who has suffered pain has caught the scent of the divine. Now, the more wakeful anyone is, the more full of suffering he is. See, the more wakeful anyone is, the more full of suffering he is. So the more anyone who is awake to conscience, awake to the spirit, right? The more full of suffering he is, because it is suffering that takes you to the conscience. The more aware of God he is, the paler he is in countenance. The more aware of God you become, the more paler you become in countenance, because suffering takes you to God. Now, if you are aware of his jabr, his compulsion, where is your humility? So Rumi asks a question. If you are aware of his jabr, his compulsion, that he is in charge and he is doing everything, right? That he is the Almighty, where is your humility then? Where is your feeling of being loaded with the chain of his jabbar, his almightiness? Right? How should one make merry? Make merry means how should one be happy and enjoy who is bound in chains? So if you are bound in chains and you have no choice, right? Then how come you are enjoying and you are enjoying and doing things? How should one make merry who is bound in chains? When does the captive in prison behave like the man who is free? So if you think that you have no choice, from Fana and Pendulo identified by Truecaller. If you think that you have no choice and no free will, when does the captive in prison behave like the man who is free? And if you consider that your foot is shackled and that the king's officers are sitting as custodians over you, then do not act like an officer, tyrannously towards the helpless, inasmuch as that is not the nature and habit of a helpless man. So, what? If you think you are in chains, then how can you be happy and rejoice and have fun? On the other hand, if you are in shackles, then do not act like a tyrant towards the helpless. Now, since you do not feel his compulsion, do not say that you are compelled. And if you feel it, where is the sign of your feeling? In every act for which you have inclination, you are very conscious of your power to perform it. Now watch what you say. 1 minute, guys. So, since you do not feel his compulsion, do not say that you are compelled. And if you feel it, where is the sign of your feeling, right? Now Rumi says in the next two lines, in every act for which you have inclination, you are clearly conscious of your power to perform it, right? But in acts for which you have no inclination and desire, you make yourself a necessitarian, saying that this is from God. So all the things that you want to do and you have inclination and you like doing, you clearly feel that you have the power to do it, right? That you have the choice.
Call from Jafar and full identified by true power.
And for all those actions that you have no inclination and you don't want to do and they are difficult, then you make yourself a necessitarian, right? Saying that this is from God, this is, whatever God wanted had happened, So what is this going on? So Rumi clarifies for you the real story. He says that the prophets are necessitarians in regard to the works of this world. So Ambiya, Darkar, Dunya, Jabriyan. So when it comes to the worldly matters, the prophets consider themselves majboor, that we don't have any choice regarding the matters of the world. Right? And regarding the matters of the hereafter, we have full choice to choose Jannah for us. So regarding the works of the world, the prophets are necessitarians. While the infidels are necessitarians in regard to the works of the next world, the kafirs, they say, we have no choice regarding the hereafter. We have full choice regarding what to do in this world, but to choose heaven and to choose the good life in the hereafter, we have no choice for that. So you see the thinking of the two people, the two thinkings of the two different people. To the prophets, the works of the next world are a matter of free will, right? To the foolish, the works of this world are a matter of free will. So both have a choice and they choose. The prophets choose the work of the next world and they consider that to be free will, that for them to choose Jannah is out of their will, right? They are free to go and choose it. But the foolish people, the disbelievers, they consider the works of this world as a matter of free will. So they say we can do whatever we want here. In the hereafter, we have no choice regarding that. We are forced regarding that matter. Now, Rumi says, because every bird flies to its own congener, it follows behind and its spirit goes before, leading it on. So every bird flies to its own congener, its own kit, its own kind, its own genes, its own type, or you can say its own source, where it came from. Now look, he will explain this to you in the next two lines. Inasmuch as the infidels were congeners of Sijin, see, the kafir, they came from Sijin. So كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفيه سجين. They came from there, so they are going there.
Call from Arafat City identified by true caller.
I'm getting too many calls today. So the infidels, the kuffar, their genes, their origin is Sijin. That's where they came from, right? They were well disposed to the prison of this world. So they were well disposed of to the prison of this world. So they are enjoying here in the prison of this world because they came from a prison. On the other hand, inasmuch as the prophets were the congeners of Illiyin, see, Anbiyaju jins Illiyin bidand. So the prophets are from the origin of Illiyin, the heaven, right? They went towards Illiyun. They went towards the Illiyin of spirit and heart. So they incline towards the Iliyin of spirit and heart. So whoever comes from wherever he came from is going to go to where he came from, right? That's what Rumi is summarizing for you. That what essence you came from, you will go back to that essence. You will choose those actions that will take you back to that essence, to that genes. This discourse has no end. So he says, Rumi, that this discourse has no end. I can go on and on and on and on, and you will go on and on listening, but this discourse has no end. Let us now relate to the story to its completion. Now he'll go back to the story of the how the Wazir. Back to the story of the Wazir now. So the Wazir cried out from within, O disciples, be this made known from you to you from me, that Jesus has given me such like message, that Jesus has given me the message. Now he's telling the people and fooling them that Jesus has told me, be separated from all friends and kinsfolk. Set thy face to the wall, sit alone, and choose to be secluded even from thine own existence. And after this, there is no permission for me to speak. After this, I have nothing to do with talk. Farewell, O friends, I am dead. I have carried my belongings up to the fourth heaven, in order that beneath the fiery sphere, I may not burn like firewood in woe and perdition, but henceforth may sit beside Jesus at the top of the fourth heaven. Now, what he did before he left. Look what he did. How the Vizier appointed each one of the Amirs separately as his successor. So he summoned those Amirs one by one and conversed with each of them privately, alone. So he called the Amirs and had a conversation with each one of them one by one. So he called the 12 Amirs one by one separately, and he had a conversation with them, telling them that you are my vicegerent after me. So after I die, you are the Visar of Jesus, like how it will be here in this verse. He said to each one, in the religion of Jesus, thou art the Visar of God and my Khalifa, vicegerent. So each Amir, each leader, he is telling that you are my Khalifa, you are my representative, you are the Visar of God, you are the Khalifa, you the vicegerent, the replacement after me. And that after me, you are the one in charge. And those other Amirs are your followers. So he told each one of the Amirs that you are the replacement after me, you are my vicegerents, and all the other Amirs must follow you. Jesus has made all of them your assistants. So they must all follow you. Any Amir who lifts his neck in rebellion, seize him and either kill him or hold him captive. Look at the poison that he did. But I'm giving you this parchment. Don't tell this to anyone. But do not declare this whilst I am alive. Do not seek the supreme authority until I am dead. So until I am dead, do not reveal this. Do not lay claim to sovereignty and dominion. Look at his plan. Here, this is the scroll and the ordinance of the Messiah. The ordinance, the law, the hukm of the Messiah. Recite them distinctly, one by one, to his people. Thus he spoke to each Amir separately, saying, there is no Visar in the religion of God except you. He honored each one by one in this way. Whatever he said to that Amir, he also said to this Amir. To each he gave one scroll. Everyone was purposely the contrary of the other. So you know what's in each scroll. Each scroll contradicts the other scroll, right? Now, watch what happens. The text of those scrolls was diverse. All were different, like the letters from Alif to Ya. The rule laid down in this scroll was contrary to that rule in that. We have already explained the nature of this contradiction. Now, the Wazir kills himself. How the Wazir killed himself in seclusion. After that, after doing that, he shut the door for other 40 days and then killed himself and escaped from his existence. When the people learned of his death, they came to pass at his grave. They came to pass at his grave, the scene of resurrection. So multitudes of people gathered at his grave, tearing their hair, rending their garments in wild grief for him. That only God can reckon the number of them, Arabs, Turks, Greeks, and Kurds, all different types of people. They put his grave's earth on their heads. They deemed anguish for him to be the remedy for themselves. During a month, those multitudes over his grave made a way for blood from their eyes, shed tears of anguish. How the people of Jesus, peace be upon him, asked the amirs, which one of you is the successor? Now, after a month of grieving and mourning and all of those things, after a month, the people said, "O chiefs, which of the amirs is designated in his place, that we may acknowledge him as our religious leader instead of him, the Wazir, and give our hands and skirts into his hands." You can imagine what's going to happen now. Since the sun is gone and has branded us, left the brand of sorrow in our hearts, is not a lamp the only resource in his stead? So the sun is gone, the lamp is gone, the Wazir is gone, he's dead now. So we need a lamp, to take his place. Since union with the beloved has vanished before our eyes, we must needs have a Basar as a memorial of him, one who will recall him to our memory. Since the rose is past and the garden ravaged, from whom shall we get the perfume of the rose? From rose water. Inasmuch as God comes into sight, not into sight, inasmuch as God comes not into sight, these prophets are the visars of God. Nay, watch now. Rumi is telling another point. Whilst in that conversation, he's bringing another point here. In as much as God comes not into sight, these prophets are the visars of God, right? The khalifas, the replacements, the vicegerents of God. Nay, I have said this wrongfully. For if you suppose that the visar and he who is represented by the visar are two, such a thought is bad, not good. So the visar and the one whom the visar represents, if you say they are two, that is bad, not good. Nay, they are two as long as you are a worshipper of form. See, if you are a surat parast, if you are a worshipper of form, they will appear as two, but they have become one to him who has escaped from consciousness of form. If you look with the spiritual eye, they are one. When you look at the form, your eye is two. See, look at your eyes. You have two eyes, right? Look at the eye's light, which grew from the eye. But the light from the eye, the sight is one. You have two eyes, but the sight is one. Do you get that point? You have two eyes, but the sight is one. It's impossible to distinguish the light of the two eyes when a man has cast his look upon the light. If 10 lamps are present in one place, if you light 10 candles in one place, each differs in form from another, right? To distinguish without any doubt the light of each when you turn your face towards their light is impossible. Now put 10 candles and light up 10 candles and look at their light. When you look at their light, can you say this light is from that candle and that light is from that candle and that light is from that candle? No, the light is one. The candles may be different, but they are all one. The light is one. If you count 100 apples and 100 quinces, they do not remain 100 but become one when you crush them together. Take 100 apples and crush them together, they become one. They are no longer 100. In things spiritual, there is no division and no numbers. In things spiritual, there are no partition and no individuals. Very important point. Sweet is the oneness of the friend with his friend. Catch and cling the foot of spirit, form is headstrong. Make headstrong form waste away with tribulation, that beneath it you may discrete unity like a buried treasure. So give up form and the tribulations that come with form, so that beneath it you may find unity buried like a treasure. And if you waste it not away, his favors will waste it. Oh, my heart is his vessel. He even shows himself to our hearts. He sews the tattered frock of the dervish. Simple were we, and all one substance. We were all without head and without foot once. We were one substance like the sun. We were knotless and pure like water. When that goodly light took form, it became many in number, like the shadows of a battlement. Raise ye the battlement with the manjanik, with the catapult, that differences may vanish from amidst this company of shadows. So, give up the shadows, look at the light. All light leads to one. The sun, when it shines, the light of the sun shines through different shadows and different holes in different places. But if you follow the light, all light leads to the same sun. I have explained this matter with eager contention, but I fear some weak mind may stumble and not understand. The points involved in it are sharp as a sword of steel. If you have not the shield of capacity to understand, turn back and flee. Rumi's warning. What he has just spoken is very sharp and very very difficult to grasp, right? If you do not have the shield, the capacity to understand, then turn back and run away. Do not come without shield against this adamant, keen blade, for the sword is not ashamed of cutting. For this cause I have put the sword in the sheath, that none who misreads may read contrariwise, in a sense contrary to the true meaning of my words. We come now to complete the tale and speak of the loyalty of the multitude of the righteous, who rose up after the death of this leader, demanding a visar in his place. So, from here the story continues. I'll read these last few lines. The quarrels of the amirs concerning the succession. One of those amirs advanced and went before that loyal-minded people and said, "Behold, I am that man's visar. I am the visar of Jesus at the present time. Look, the scroll is my proof that after him the visarate belongs to me." Another Amir came forth from ambush. His pretension regarding the vicegerency was the same. He too produced a scroll from under his arm, so that both the Amirs, they aroused the Jewish anger. And you know what's going to happen from here onwards. Inshallah, we'll continue. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.